Hello and welcome to The Print. This is Ratan Priya, and I have with me Shobhaa, who's back with a new book, The Sensual Self. She is a published author, columnist, journalist, and the OG social commentator for years and years now. And my first question to you, Shobha, is why do you think Kama Sutra is a con?
I'll tell you why it's a con because A, it's seen entirely from a man's perspective, man's point of view. The acrobatic positions that are outlined in the Kama Sutra, you try even a few of them, chances are your knees will go or you'll break your back
Very
or get
complicated
your neck,
positions.
yeah, all those various positions. But it was not meant to be a sexual manual. The history of the Kama Sutra is quite different.
Yeah.
It's a treatise about pleasure and sensuality, actually. But what we have focused on is just the sexual asanas. And that's the con that India has perpetuated on the West, because most of them wouldn't know about anything beyond, the doggy position. And their focus in matters of intimacy, I'd imagine, are either kinky or extremely limited.
Or like really like violent, dangerous, don't you think?
That's, I think, one of our deep, dark secrets that we don't like to talk about. But the West is quite brazen about it because they even have a term for it.
Yeah.
I don't know of any references in history that are as blatant in our history books or our mythology, which encourage S&M. But in the West, it's perfectly acceptable, accepted, and has been for centuries, as has been, sex with animals and so on, which in Indian society we
Yeah.
would consider it abhorrent. At least we don't refer to it in polite company.
Yeah. So this is Shobha Day's book. It's called The Sensual Self. And my second question to you, because you say this is a book of your own personal experiences, and throughout the book, you've tried to really get into your own thoughts about sex and intimacy and all of that. You say you are unromantic. Your children call you prude, and you think you are too easy to please. What is Shobha Day? Where does she stand in all of these labels? Where is she when it comes to sex and intimacy?
Okay, well, to start with, it's not only about my experiences. The book
Yes.
is deeply personal in segments, but it also addresses very universal concerns about intimacy. So it's not like I'm writing Kama Sutra for today's young people.
Yes.
I don't have the authority to do it. I wish I did. I'm not Vatsan. But what I've tried to do is use my own personal feelings and my emotional base to express what I feel are concerns that Indian society is not always willing to start conversations around. My children call me a prude. They're not wrong, guilty as charged. Because me as a writer and me as a mother hen clucking at the dining table and disapproving almost everything that they're trying to bring up at a family dinner, yes, they're completely right. I'm not a cool mom. Let's put it that way. And I don't use the F word in conversation. I may use it in my books, but I don't throw it around. And I discourage my children from doing the same.
So you were not the kind of mother who would sit her children down and tell them about what safe sex is, this is what you can read, this is how you can educate yourself. You were not that kind.
Well, I think they're now in their 50s and 40s and coming up 40, the youngest one. They can teach me a thing or two. It's hardly the time for me to be giving them any gyan about matters that they have, I'm sure, not just experienced and probably have far more experience than I can ever dream about. But no, I don't think that's the way to do it. I think sex with even much younger children, of course, preteens today, increasingly 10-year-olds, should come up as a topic that uh, is natural. You can't sit them down and give them a lecture on the birds and bees because A, they'll turn tone deaf almost immediately, and it'll make you extremely unpopular with your children. And at that age, almost all that they receive in terms of sexual information comes from their peer group. So parents are have to be responsive to their conversations, and when they are expressing themselves, don't shut them down.
Hmm.
Schools they are doing a pretty good job of these sort of issues were never discussed when I was growing up.
So yeah, young people don't like being told basically what to do. That's what my understanding it from my peers and everything. It's just however knowledgeable the person is, we just like doing things our own way. And I've seen that you have lots of thoughts on that. We will get to it. But first, since we are on the topic, what does Mr. Day think about all the revelations that you've made in the book?
I can only tell you he is in a trance. He's read the book twice over, underlined passages that have appealed to him. He treated me to an exceptional dinner the night the book, my advance copy, came home, based on some of the foods that I've mentioned in the book. Also, I think in a way, he's the star of the book. I'll never say it to
Yeah,
him. I will
definitely.
never acknowledge it.
You
But
have
I think
changed
he knows
the
it.
meaning of guava in my life. I will never look at a guava ever again and think anything but you.
What about gulab jamun?
Yeah, gulab jamun. But I think the pink guava is very fresh in my head. I think
Ah,
maybe.
the bite marks on the pink guava.
Yeah,
Even eating a butta
the
with when
butta,
you're very
yes,
young, a shared butta can be something so innocent at the same time, so erotic. I
yes.
think we've lost touch of our that kind of imagery, the young. So I call it sort of spreadsheet sex most of the time.
Yes. So see how you are curious about how young people are doing it, and also young people are curious how old people are doing it.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of myths and like misconceptions about uh your generation dealing with sex
Yes.
and your sex life. What do you think is the biggest myth about sexuality in one's 70s?
That we're not having it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
even if we are having it, it's something almost shameful.
Hmm.
And most younger people, I mean, even in their 40s and 50s, will go, ew. I mean, no, please spare us the details. Not that anyone is parading the details, but
Yes.
intimacy does not have a kind of age limit. You can express yourself in very intimate terms to someone you trust, someone whose body parts and your body parts have kind of understood one another. Like there's a line in the book when I think Mr. Day says to me about when hands, no, that's my line, I think. When hands become friends, the rest of the body follows. So hand holding is something, again, which is so intimate, but in आज के ज़माने में hand holding
Yeah.
is so incidental to the rituals of getting to know each other, to courtship.
It's basically
It's
fifth
all
base for
this.
us. After everything, we'll hold hands. That sort of thing.
If you do that, if you still like each other.
Yes.
Otherwise,
We
yeah,
still like
otherwise, yeah.
yes.
Otherwise, I mean, holding hands also establishes a bond,
Hmm.
which is deeper, I believe, than actually bonking. Bonking, you can go to bed with practically anyone you've met at a party and no big deal. But
Yeah.
holding hands and kissing in a particular way, I don't mean just rolling your tongues around each other's mouths, but in a meaningful way that conveys emotion or passion is probably totally underrated by the younglings.
And holding the face while kissing the
Oh,
person. That's
yes.
very
Oh,
underrated. Yes.
oh, yes, my goodness. That's why I think I've found wonderful that you brought it up because I keep going back to the iconic kiss as represented by the kiss, the most famous painting about the kiss in the world, Gustav Klimt
Clip.
painting,
Yeah.
where the angle at which he's holding her head and his hand is in her hair
Yeah.
and he's sort of tenderly caressing the side of her face. Her face is turned away, actually. They're not in the throes of a deep, tongue tingling kiss. It's the tenderness of the kiss.
Hmm.
So, yes, face holding. or just gently touching the face to
Yeah.
show that there's more to the woman than just the tongue stuck down her throat.
Yeah, it's
I
more than
would
that. It's
establish
more than the tongue. Yeah.
more than the tongue, but I think the focus is so much on tongue play that all else is forgotten.
Yeah. Shobha, I was really touched when you were talking about how you long for longing and that you miss tenderness. What do you think tenderness is to you, if you can, you know, be as
Tenderness
elaborate?
is the very yeah. It's a, it's I think I've said it somewhere in the book that you could be on a flight together and you reach out to one another, your fingers touch. Maybe you lean to one another, maybe you exchange a peck on the cheek, maybe you exchange a kiss, maybe you've got something in your plates that you offer to the other one. Tenderness, when you feed a lover, heart say, when you finger feed a lover like you would a child, it demonstrates so much affection.
Yeah.
And tenderness is really small gestures. It's not the huge, big acts which are like cosmic. They're chota chota things. The chota things which we sometimes ignore completely.
Hmm.
Tenderness is even a person who knows that you're tired at the end of the day and he is your lover, but he doesn't instantly jump on you. He lets you get your breath back. He's considerate towards your feelings of fatigue. Uh, Even if he doesn't get you a cup of tea or a glass of wine, he can offer a light head massage. He can do butterfly kisses on your eyes. He can touch your earlobes.
Hmm.
He can touch the nape of your neck, give you a little massage the back of your shoulders. That's tenderness. I think it's so key, so important.
Yeah. Um, there's this. So, do you think this tenderness thing increases with age? Does it come with age, or you experienced it in your 20s as well? Because I'm in my 20s, I've hardly felt it. I mean, it's in the stories and the movies and all, but yeah, honestly.
You don't know what you're missing out on. I think you should educate your boyfriends because it should start young. You can't suddenly be in your 50s and say, hey, you know what? I want tenderness. It's something that you grow up appreciating. So
Hmm.
if you demonstrate it yourself in your 20s, I'm sure men like gestures, tender gestures themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not the onus is not always on them. But I guess your generation is a different era, and why not? You're in such a hurry to get on with it, but I've never quite understood. Get it off, get on with it.
But it's
Uh,
because there are so many people, we have to get through all of them.
oh, the numbers count.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe it's that. But in the old days, a girl would never acknowledge that she's keeping a head count of her lovers at your age
Hmm.
because society was so judgmental.
Yeah.
And around her buas and masis and mom and everyone will be telling her, why do you have to go public with the number of boyfriends you had? Why don't you just pretend to be virginal, untouched, and pure? Because आपका market value ही कम हो जाएगा.
हाँ.
Not much has changed. I mean, I'm surprised and delighted that you say that it has. But what I see around me in families that I know with young daughters, it's still playing that old game of,
Yeah.
oh, my daughter's a virgin, my daughter. No, she just had one light romance, but ऐसे कुछ नहीं था. बिल्कुल ही नहीं.
वो तो उसका फ्रेंड
Since
है, वो तो उसका फ्रेंड.
friend, बिल्कुल.
Yeah. There's this other thing that you say. So I agree that orgasm might not be the end goal every time you have sex, but you also say that you have to communicate. You have to communicate. It's the only way things will be better. So what is it? Is it like, have we overcorrected by demanding authenticity in the bedroom, or do we need more of it? What is
I would say more of it, but sometimes it has to be couched in a way that's not like, it's like a memo you bring to the boudoir and you start ticking off. आपने ये नहीं किया, आपने वो नहीं किया, आप इस वक्त ये भूल गए, last time जो किया था वापस करो. It doesn't work like that.
लेकिन
I
फेक
mean,
कर
that takes away
सकते
the
हैं,
mystique.
ऑर्गेजम फेक कर सकते हैं.
हाँ, बिल्कुल, because it just saves a lot of time.
Okay.
And you don't necessarily need a man to orgasm.
Okay.
I think most young people have discovered that too. So
Hmm.
that takes away the whole tension of that mating game, and they want to pleasure themselves. They have sex toys they can access. They can watch what they want, and if that's something that they find pleasurable, there are many there are many options today which didn't exist earlier.
But the,
So the game has changed.
yeah, the game is changed, and the whole market around sex and everything is towards reaching on, like we have sex toys now. It's
Yeah.
all about how two people can come together and both of them are satisfied equally, which is something, it's a change that's we've seen in the last couple of decades, and it's a positive change. So to be saying right now that it's completely fine for women to fake orgasm, do you think it's a little bit going backwards?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, it's faking an orgasm if you wish to. I don't mean to in order to deceive your partner,
Yeah.
but if it's going to going to be a tedious and very long night, and you have other things on your mind, and you're kind of satisfied, but maybe you haven't achieved an orgasm, it's really okay to not pressurize the man. It's like a performance anxiety,
Yeah.
and the usual questions of how was it for you? I mean, it's an awful question to ask. I think it's very
Stressful
unromantic.
question to answer.
Very, very. So, and authenticity, I don't think is something. What is authentic at the end of it all?
It's
I
all
find, I authenticity. Well, if you're honest enough, if there's enough trust, and you're yourself in bed with your partner, but some of your most personal responses will always remain most personal.
hmm.
They will always be something known only to you. Whereas in a man, the poor chap, he cannot hide if he goes limp. It's not something he can camouflage. So in that sense, I think women are greatly advantaged. And where sex toys are concerned, I remember a very interesting conversation I had with someone I like a lot. I respect her a lot. She's self-made. She's out there, Urfi Javed.
Yes.
And I'd asked her, I said, do you have a plan B in place if this plan doesn't work? What she was doing at that point was attracting a lot of media attention, and most of her earnings came from the creative dresses that were hardly there, but she was attracting attention through semi-nudity. So she said, yes, I do, because this is not going to last forever. So I have done, the entire business plan to bring the best sex toys and sex aids to India, like they're available elsewhere in the world. So people like myself and my generation, we don't have to run around in the ganda back alleys of some city looking for something that gives us pleasure. We can walk in to a place like a boutique, and that was her plan. And she also wanted to do a lingerie brand, which was in keeping with her imaging. And I thought that was a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's going ahead with it.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea. I think it's very in right now.
Yeah,
And which
yeah.
this brings me to your this thing you've said, by the way, very controversial, Shobha. You feel depressed when you listen to Miley Cyrus's I Can Give Myself Flowers. It's such an
Yes.
empowering song and it depresses you.
Yeah, it does. It does because for me and my generation, we grew up on a very different kind of encouragement. It wasn't about being a loser in life. It
Hmm.
wasn't about settling for something that was so defeatist. Of course, you can give yourself flowers, and why not? But to make that like an anthem for a generation that's already a little lost,
Yeah.
and self-esteem issues are being addressed non-stop, a generation that's being judged and is judging itself non-stop. The idea that you don't really require another person to validate who you are and what you are, and you're happy to reconcile yourself to a life of sending yourself flowers because you can be happier with yourself than you can with a man or a woman. Or I just felt it was for me, no. No, I'd happily give myself flowers, but I'd still
Yeah.
like to receive flowers. Big
Receive.
difference.
So you want
Yeah,
that channel to be open. You want women to have
always,
that chance.
always, always. Yeah,
Yeah. You also connect a lot of self-love discourse to narcissism, the growing narcissism in
yeah,
society. So would you like to
yeah,
say more on that?
yeah. A society has always been narcissistic. It's not that human beings shun away from self-love. They never have. I mean, the whole mythology around Narcissus, the original person who was in love with the own image reflected in water. And that's how the name was given to that complex. The narcissism came from that.
Yeah.
But to take it to a level which can be self-harming, that it becomes self-obsessive, and the standards you start adopting for yourself, and perhaps also judging other people by, are so unrealistic
Hmm.
that then narcissism gets into a negative zone.
So do
So
you think they mistake it for liberation in a way, freedom? Like some people who call themselves I'm self-partnered and
yeah,
it's like
I'm marrying myself.
admiring myself, that sort of
Yeah,
thing. So is
yes.
that what you're
मैं
referring
खुद
to?
की मैं खुद की favorite हूँ. I
Ha.
think that's Karina's line.
Yeah, and Jab We Met, yes.
Yes. So I mean, to some extent, it's very sweet because she's not the character is not looking for approval from her partner,
Yeah.
and she actually totally loves herself. But this whole business of marrying yourself and loving yourself to uh, 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 it's maybe something that works in your 20s, but you still have to cross many bridges to realize that life in isolation is not always that pretty or that attractive, and it can be extraordinarily lonely at any age. But yeah, in your 20s, you can afford to be kind of open to the idea that you don't need anyone,
Right.
that you're an island unto yourself, and that works great for you. If it works great for you, it works great for you. I mean, for me, the perspective was also very personal.
Uh,
I need the oxygen of people around me, and I
yes.
need that. I'm not I'm not someone who's turned being lonely into a kind of calling card at all, and I never will.
That's impressive. I get that. I hear you, and I that gives me a lot of hope. But also, you are somebody who's also giving me this very unfiltered picture of what marriage is and what
Yeah,
it could be. You talk
yeah,
about this duty sex, which is
yeah,
something you have talked about in your earlier columns and your other writings, like the Indian mentality towards sex, how it's like an obligation that you fulfill at
yeah.
the day. I mean, it's is it still an obligation? The whole thing about dal chawal and chicken chili fry. What you say? Are married couples really experimenting that much, or is it still like a duty only?
Well, it is both. They are performing their duty too, but they're experimenting a lot more, and they're doing it with much more confidence and openness. I'm talking about young marrieds in their 20s and 30s who want that dal chawal sex because it's like khichdi, it's very comforting, but they
Hmm.
also like a little tadka to it. They may not always go for something terribly exotic because that could also, in a way, intimidate them because they may not be completely ready to put themselves out and try something that can make them feel insecure. But yes, things have changed radically and dramatically, and that change has come from women. Young women are demanding much more than duty sex, and they're not willing to settle for that obligatory
Yeah.
encounter between the sheets. But if
I
they are
mean,
compelled to
yes.
by their in-laws in particular, who will intrude even into their boudoir and, if possible, get into bed with their husbands to make sure is the girl keeping my son, my ladla beta, happy in bed or not? then that pressure is something very hard for a young girl to
Yeah.
resist all by herself and wave a flag of independence.
You keep repeating in the book that men have to work harder, they have to work harder to reach the women's level, to get her up to that level to please
Yeah.
her. What do you mean when you say work hard? What kind of hard
When
work?
I'll tell you what it is, it has a lot to do with their uh, over the years, the conditioning that all they had to do was get it up and get it in. That's it. Uh, Today's woman is not willing to settle for that. So they expect a lot more. And I'm not only talking about the urban woman. I think because of social media and because of movies, I mean, I watched Man Marzia
Yeah.
twice because of what it was saying about tier two and tier three cities and about women having as much of a voice in their sexual relationships as the men. And I'm talking about Vicky Kaushal's character in that movie is I think he's semi-literate. I don't think he's been to finish school or finish college or any of that. But he knows exactly what works for him. And so does his girlfriend. And they're not willing to settle for less. They want it on their terms, on their individual terms.
Yes.
Also that she moves away from Abhishek Bachchan in the movie, who's a good, nice, acha, बहुत अच्छा Sharif guy, but maybe boring to her because she's used to a much wilder sexual experience. So
Yes.
these are choices that were never voiced or put out there in popular culture. That we see them so much now is in a way I think it's fantastic. It's phenomenal.
It is. It is. Uh, One line in the book which delighted me a lot: men are intrinsically cheap. Are you trying to provoke? Are you teasing? What is it? Do you mean it?
I mean it. I mean it. I mean, I'm not talking about every single man in the
Yeah.
world is cheap, but again, it's conditioning. They can get away with much more if they can. If they can scrimp on something, they will. There are very few. I mean, I've talked also about the older geezers who are willing to spend or getting arm candy or a very young
Yeah.
lover to parade. Uh, that doesn't happen only in cities. It doesn't happen only in OTT platforms on them. It happens even in villages where the zamindar by right will feel that he can get wife number three, a much younger woman, and flaunt her. But for that, you have to pay. There's always a price. But in a regular kind of a relationship, in a regular marriage, very often where even the girls are working and they're contributing members in that relationship to the family kitty, men will still be cheap. If they can get away with something, pleasing her with something at half the price, they will. If they can get away with not giving her anything at all, they
Yeah.
will.
We call it breadcrumbing these days. That's what
Breadcrumbing.
men mean.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
It is breadcrumb. And we are not pigeons or
You're not
chidiya, you know.
business. Obviously,
Ah,
yes.
yeah. Why settle for that?
Exactly. Now tell me, how does Shobha Day flirt?
Oh, I wish I knew now. I did at one stage in my life.
But
Now, I'll tell you, the simple and direct and sad truth is
yeah.
most men are terrified of me. They think of me as a dragon woman. They stay miles away. I enter a room and I see them quickly turning around and rushing in the opposite direction. I don't know what they think. I don't have talents. I don't bite. But in a way, it suits me fine because 99% of the men out there don't interest me. It would be tiresome for me to have to tolerate them in a social situation.
That way you
But
lost so many bullets by now.
yeah, well, what do I say?
Yeah.
But flirting, I think I've described it in the book. The lady who I spent a lot of time with in Delhi was sitting in front of her dressing table, dropping the pallu and putting the pallu back on her shoulder,
Yeah.
and mesmerized by her own image, and she was perfecting the drop of that chiffon pallu from her left shoulder. That is the art of flirting. That's like Umrao Jan. She can flirt without removing even her dupatta from any part of her body. It's the eyes. It's what you're saying. It's the way you look at a man. It's the way you smile. It doesn't have to be overt. It doesn't have to be something that you say, "Oh my God!" I mean, get over it, but or get over yourself.
Yes.
Flirting is a very, very fine art, and it's something worth learning for men and women.
We're losing it. We're slowly losing it, that art.
Completely, they don't need to flirt.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need to. I mean, you go to a bar and you can approach a woman, single or otherwise, and get to the point right away and say, you know, your place or mine or whatever the line is right now. Can I buy you a drink? Is the simplest. But it's already assumed and understood that if she accepts that drink, she's going to go to bed with you.
Yeah.
So why would anyone bother? Why would the woman bother to flirt? Why would the guy bother to flirt? Time and energy. It's
Yeah.
better invested in just getting into
Mm.
bed.
Absolutely. So we are now going to wrap up. Thank you so much, Shobha, for
Oh, that
sharing
was
your
delightful.
time.
Thank you.
That
Really
was so
enjoyed talking to
nice,
you.
and it
Uh,
was nice to have you. For our viewers, let me tell you, this new book is not a dating manual. It's not Kama Sutra 2.0. It is still a book of immense knowledge that you would like to have at your bedside.
Thank you. Yeah.
And as I leave you, one last question, Shobha.
Huh.
This is not related to your book. You have, in all these decades of your career, you've been celebrated as an author, as a social commentator, but you've also been dismissed as a voice of the elite. So, does it irritate or amuse you? Still
Not at all.
has no effect on you.
It has never bothered because I'm being authentic to my upbringing. I'm being authentic to who I am and how I was raised.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think poverty porn is the way to go just to get some talis from an audience who are as elite as you may be. I mean, all of us of my generation, any of us who've been to a good school, by good school, I mean, received that kind of an education
Yeah.
are by definition elite because growing up, most people didn't have access to that school, right? So I'm not apologetic about it at all. I don't have anything to prove to anyone, but that does not make me indifferent. That does not make me insensitive to the less privileged, not one little bit. So for anyone who thinks whatever they think at this stage in my life or at any stage in my life, you know, go ahead and think what you want. I really sometimes feel like Madonna says that half your life, and I admire her a lot, you spend so much of your life trying to get approval from different people. But the minute you realize that that approval has absolutely no value, no meaning in your everyday life, that
Yeah.
you are who you are. So just be that and keep betting on yourself and no one else. That's my mantra.
That is inspirational. Thank you so much.